The only thing worse than releasing a bad game is releasing a potentially good game that was ruined by suits who only care about demographics and release schedules. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're looking at the top 10 video games ruined by executive meddling.
You heard the General. Let's do it.
For this list, we're looking at video games whose final products were drastically altered or even ruined by outside, non-developer hands during the development process.
Don't worry. Just raise your head and run.
Number 10, Dragon Age 2.
Prepare yourself.
A trend on this list is that publishers will often rush game developers in order to meet a deadline, and not even the legendary BioWare is immune to this.
Bad luck and judgment.
The sequel to their 2009 RPG was demanded by publisher EA to not only be finished quickly, but also to craft the game to feel much more like their prior success, Mass Effect.
You know exactly why you're here.
This led to lead designer Brent Knowles leaving during pre-production, and the final game being regarded as the weakest in the series.
Bullshit. That's not what really happened.
It was still considered to be a passable game, but nowhere near as good as it could have been had EA let BioWare work their magic.
I'm not really a blood mage. I started that rumor because I thought it would make me sound dangerous and suave.
Number 9, Assassin's Creed Unity.
Father, I want to make it right.
The problem with transitioning between console generations is that developers often have to satisfy the large install base of the old consoles while providing experiences that will sell the new technology and convert new fans.
Does it matter? The blame still lies with me.
Unfortunately, this could lead to resources being split among projects, which is exactly what happened to the Assassin's Creed franchise in 2014.
Can't save everyone, Pisspot.
Instead of focusing on one experience for all consoles, Ubisoft decided to split the team between the next-gen Unity and the last-gen Rogue. As a result, Unity launched with an assortment of infamous bugs and glitches that hampered the overall experience, leaving gamers with a sour opinion of the series and Ubisoft overall.
These imbeciles will pick a fight with anyone. Try not to draw their attention.
Number 8, Star Fox Adventures. Rare's last project for Nintendo before being bought by Microsoft began life as an adventure game for the N64 called Dinosaur Planet.
And who might you be, Animal Girl?
But when Shigeru Miyamoto noticed that the lead character looked a lot like Fox McCloud, he ordered the game to be reworked for the GameCube as part of the Star Fox franchise instead.
This mission is about saving the planet, not blowing it up.
Unfortunately, the extra development time needed to change the game had unforeseen consequences, thanks to the aforementioned Microsoft buyout.
For a moment, I thought you weren't gonna make it.
Very funny, sir.
This forced a lot of content from the game to be cut to make the final deadline, including the game's planned final boss.
Scales, you are no longer any use to me.
Perhaps the game's biggest crime was causing such a successful partnership to end on such a disappointing note.
Hey, wait! Well, thanks for nothing.
Number 7, Sonic the Hedgehog. This was supposed to be Sonic's big 15th anniversary comeback on next-gen hardware, but boy did Sega screw things up big time.
Whoa!
Not only did they split the development team in half to make this game and Sonic the Secret Rings, but what was left of the team was given a really thin deadline to make the anniversary release date.
It's no use!
I'm sure you all know the results by now, about how awful and basically unfinished the game was. How its erratic camera, unfathomably sloppy controls, and absolutely ludicrous story completely crashed Sonic's legacy. Number 6, Resident Evil 6. Now, here's a game with a horrific identity problem. While previous installments gradually kept moving away from the series' roots, producer Masachika Kawata even stated that their goal with RE6 was to attract fans of fast-paced action games like Call of Duty.
Never thought I'd find Chris Redfield wasting away in a shithole like this.
Because of this, the game features 4 different campaigns with varying gameplay styles, almost none of them resembling the survival horror tone that the franchise was once known for.
Come on, we can take them!
Instead, Capcom turned their flagship franchise into a third-person shooter where everything goes kaboom. Number 5, Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness.
First question, who are you? Second question, what are you and your buddies up to in here?
Despite being one of the most well-known female characters in gaming, Lara Croft was struggling to keep up with the times when she made her long-awaited PS2 debut in 2003.
Highly inconvenient having abominations running around loose, isn't it?
Core Design set out to drastically redesign the series, but publisher Eidos Interactive did a lot of focus testing, and Lara's new adventure was riddled with poorly implemented features. Among these features were out-of-place stealth sections, broken hand-to-hand combat, and a second playable character, Curtis Trent.
You really have made a mess of things, haven't you?
Who for? The stalker who stole my painting?
In order to get the game out in time and benefit from the marketing of the second Tomb Raider film, the game was rushed and released incomplete, leaving Lara once again buried in a tomb until her next reboot.
If I had a coconut for every time some lunatic said something like that.
Your pathetic ignorance blinds you.
Number 4. Lair.
Follow my lead.
Take Star Wars Rogue Squadron, replace the X-Wings with dragons, and you have a recipe for an amazing early PS3 game. Right?
That got him!
Well, Sony didn't exactly think so, as they made developer Factor 5 shoehorn 6-axis motion control as the only control option in the game to showcase their new technology.
Just by moving the controller, it's like pulling on the reins of the dragon.
While controlling the beasts with your controller sounds cool in concept, problems with the motion control technology made what would have been an otherwise acceptable game completely unplayable.
And everyone tried it and it's like, this is crap, I don't want to play this.
Factor 5 eventually released a patch that added analog stick support, but the damage had been done, as the game's failure forced them to shut their doors in 2009.
They're retreating!
Number 3. Fuse. What could ever lead to Ratchet & Clank developer Insomniac Games being called uncreative? They made some of the most beloved games for the PlayStation systems, and wanted to bring their lighthearted, humorous style to their first multi-platform game, then called Overstrike. But then EA came in and told the developer to shift the style of the shooter from lighthearted and fun to the dark and serious tone that most people associate with the genre.
I used to wish you came with me. Now, I wish you'd stayed away.
Because of this, Insomniac ended up releasing a co-op shooter that's as generic as they come, with no distinct style that was promptly forgotten. Number 2. SimCity 2013. The topics of games and systems requiring an online connection at all times just to be able to play them is a hot-button issue for gamers. But the always-online debate reached a tipping point when EA required developer Maxis to require a net connection just to play. Because of this, the 6th installment of the city-building sim experienced an absolute disaster of a launch, where network outages and game crashes ran rampant. EA's handling of this game was just like watching a tornado touch down on one of your virtual cities. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Spider-Bot's got me trapped. Get rid of him, and I can get us out of this place.
Johnny Cage wins.
If you would end Malachor, then do it. But it will not be a victory for you. And of course you must be willing to die. To kill us all.
Number 1. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Whatever outside interferences the above games may have had, at least they don't have the honor of bringing an entire industry to near extinction. Atari bought the rights to the classic Spielberg movie in July of 1982, and gave game designer Howard Scott Warshaw the unimaginable task of creating the entire game in just 6 weeks.
And the truth is, if I would have tweaked it and fixed a couple of the major problems in the game, we might not be here talking about it right now.
Oh, and did we mention that the game was Atari's flagship title of that holiday season? We don't really have to tell you how this one ended, but here we go. Atari's order resulted in one of the worst games of all time, and ended with a landfill full of unsold cartridges in the New Mexico desert.
When I first made these games, the whole point was about entertaining people, like this right now behind me. It's still entertaining people.
Do you agree with our list?
No one will answer me directly.
What games do you wish the executives kept their hands off? For more authentic top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You will regret this.